And now, the time fight fans all across the globe have been waiting for. It's the main card with your man, The Voice. As always, in the opposite corner, my mano Imano, my verbal sparring partner, Philly's finest, Wildress Ruffin. What's going on?
Feeling good, man. It's smoking pop. It don't get no better than that. You know what I'm saying? My skin is luxurious. I got the fresh tea on. I got the fresh Starburst pink Phillies hat on. I'm here, man. I don't want to smoke. But I'm happy to see you, brother. Let me introduce you. This is, ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, the legend, the man with his own t-shirt, but I don't know what hat he has on today. He ain't caca on today.
You can't read that St. Louis City SC? Them cats was, let me not talk about that because we're not killing.
Yeah, don't do that. It's The Voice, ladies and gentlemen. Voice, how you feeling, boss?
Oh, man, I am feeling wonderful. I'm so glad that we are often in sync when it comes to the things you're wearing. And, you got on your Starburst pink, which is close to the city red. So, I appreciate you trying to be St. Louis, even though you be claiming Philly.
Yeah, that's not what's happening. But I'm gonna let that slide though. You know what I'm saying? Because it's been a minute since we've done this. So I'm gonna let that slide. And we got a huge show for y'all today, man. We covering the biggest fights that are happening. A fight that's being proclaimed as the biggest fight ever. A fight of two legends that probably would have been the biggest fight ever, maybe 10, 15 years ago. And then we got a couple monsters in the MJ. So we're gonna go ahead and get into it. Boys, you ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's hop into it, man. KOs and low blows.
Let's
now,
get it.
Voice, it has been announced that two of the greatest ever is going to face off in a Legends versus Legends bout when Iron Mike Tyson faces Floyd Money Mayweather in 2026. Yes, you're reading that right. An exhibition bout is being made for spring 2026. While no date has been provided as of yet, we don't have a venue as of yet. The deal has been signed, and we're just waiting to get more updates on it. Now, Tyson is 59, Floyd is 48. That'll be in 2026. The ages in 2026 is going to be an 8-round bout, 2 minutes each. I don't know what to think of it, but they did have some comments. Tyson said, "I still can't believe Floyd wants to do this. It's going to be bad for his health, but it's signed and it's happening." Floyd Mayweather said, "This exhibition will be big and legendary. I'm the best in the boxing business." So, Voice, we talked about these celebrity bouts. We talked about various bouts. We talked about Tyson's last bout. What do you make of this bout? And what else can you tell us you believe may happen here?
Well, what I make of this bout is that it's more about the people behind the fight than the fight itself. You have some really big names in boxing historically that are behind this bout. The company that's putting it on is backed by people like John Skipper, who helped launch the Zone. You have some of the people who made HBO boxing what it was that are behind this. And really, I think this is just their entry or re-entry back into the boxing landscape. This may be PBC 2.0 in that it is they have their own outlet. That's what I really want to see. Where is the fight going to land? Is this going to be on a brand new streaming platform to take on the Zone? Is this going to be something that is now incorporated into current PBC partners like Prime? Like, where is all of this going to go? So that's what's most interesting about this fight to me. Secondly, and we talked about this off air, I think this is part of this is just Floyd's desire to be competitive, and the competition isn't necessarily fighting, but showing how to do exhibitions. I mean, technically, Floyd is he's the one who really kicked off this exhibition stuff. The fight with McGregor, which is still one of the largest fights in history, only behind his fight with Pacquiao. That was really our entry into this exhibition season that we're in. And I think he wants to show his former protege, the one who split from him and really has decimated his boxing business, being Tank Davis. This is how you do an exhibition fight. You do it when you don't have anything else on the line, like I did. I tried to give you the game plan the whole time. This is the reason why you're undefeated, you're making the money that you're making, is because I was trying to give you game, but you didn't want the game for real. You want to do things on your own, and now you're doing some things on your own. But this is why you do it once you've completed certain things, because it looks like what it is. This is a cash grab, and not only a cash grab, but a cash out for Tank Davis. And he's not going to have the legendary status of a Floyd Mayweather because he hasn't fought the legends to earn that status. You know, Floyd gave him the money Mayweather game, but where Floyd, I think, has not helped overall when it comes to legacy, is that he forgets that money came after the Pretty Boy era. Pretty Boy afforded the money. And where everyone has just been going the money route, you still got to have that Pretty Boy too for legacy's sake, and for just to have some kind of credibility outside of people who drink the Kool-Aid, which is a whole lot of Kool-Aid drinkers. So maybe it really doesn't matter. You know, for those of us who are hardcore fans, we're not the target anyway. We're going to be there regardless. It's the casuals and what he's doing. Even if it doesn't help the casuals, it helps your pockets while you're waiting to get to that casual fight.
Man, you make a lot of good points. I mean, it's another exhibition. After the Jake Paul fight, I really did not want to see Tyson back into the ring. But he made a statement saying this, you know, it's on him. Sometimes he trains really lazy. So hopefully he comes into this one fully prepared. While no broadcaster,
he's not going to look any different than he did in the Jake Paul fight. And honestly, on Floyd's end, he picked the wrong old timer. It should have been Roy Jones Jr. They've been going back and forth in the media for the past month or so. That's a fight that everyone would have been lining up to see. However, which this is really, this is one of the reasons why boxing gets such a bad rap. In 2025 and 2026, the biggest name in the game is someone who we're still living off their 40-year-old nostalgia. Let that sink in.
It sounds about right. I mean, it's going to be a big fight no matter what. There is no confirmed broadcasters yet, but of course, Netflix, ESPN, DAZN, HBO, and Showtime are all listed as potential contenders for that bout. And if you're wondering what their weight was before, Tyson's last fight was 228, Floyd's was 160. About a 60, 70 pound, 60 pound difference. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Trying to show Tank up. You little David versus Goliath, all old man style.
Definitely.
All right. Well, you hear the change in the music, which means there's a change in the combat sports that we're talking about. It is time for Wildress's world famous ring walk. And this week, we kick things off with a family affair. AJ Menendez Brooks, aka AJ Lee, has returned to the WWE, and it has set the fandom on fire. They, as you can see, They're feuding. It's a husband and wife battle between she and her husband CM Punk and Becky Lynch and her husband Seth Rollins. I think the way that they set it up was really wise. She made her comeback officially in Milwaukee, which is the backyard of Chicago, exactly, which is where CM Punk is from, and I believe they live. So having it there was excellent. She made a quote in her promo that I want to read. Most importantly, I went on a mental health journey. I wasn't healthy. I needed to take care of myself, get right. I went to therapy. I got treatment and found a way to turn all this mental chaos into my superpower. The fight is not easy. Every day is a fight. But let me tell you, if you're going through the same thing, the fight is worth it. You're worth it. So this was her stating why she stepped away from wrestling as a whole. She's written books about mental health being a superpower and many things of that nature. But for her to say this in her initial return, I thought was very powerful. Talk about the impact that her being here, championing mental health, how that can impact the wrestling community.
I think it's incredible. Anytime you can be a champion for mental health, which is so important to so many, is an incredible thing. The issue for many is, while it's great what she's saying, the fact that she's saying this and WWE is championing this, and at the same time you have certain lawsuits going on and certain people are still with the company, is what's questionable. But I don't want to focus on that. I want to focus on the fact that AJ Lee left WWE at the top of her game. You know, she went out at the top of her game. She was a top star at that time. People have been clamoring for her for years. So we know that this comeback is nothing more than her desire to return to the ring, to return to do something that she loves. And we also understand too that this is not just something that she's just going to be doing one time, but the impact that she's left on so many, you can actually see from the stars of today. You know, wrestlers like Roxanne Perez call her mom because of how much she actually mentored them mentally without her being there, so to speak. So it's just one of those things where her return is going to be twofold. Not only in front of the camera and the matches she's going to be able to put on with some of the people who weren't there before, but also backstage. She's going to be a champion for so much. AJ Lee was one of the first people who pushed for divas to have more time in the ring. And we saw that change. Ironically, we saw that change as she was adjusting out, but she was the major catalyst for that. So it's exciting to see her back. I love the way that they bought her back and the fact that CM Punk looked so proud. If you got to see that Friday night, on that Friday night when she was in the ring with Becky Lynch. And I think that this is going to be a great match. I think we should prepare ourselves for maybe the next 2 to 3 months, as these four are probably going to embark on a pretty long feud that I think we're all going to be excited about. Becky and AJ are two of the greatest in the ring, and CM Punk and Seth are two of the greatest in the ring. When you got WrestlePalooza coming up, this is going to be their tag team match. But you have to remember, we also have Crown Jewel coming up, and then that's in October, and then in November, you have Survivor Series. So anything can happen as we walk into Royal Rumble season.
Okay. Fair enough. That is good, and you really have answered many of the questions that I had regarding this topic. So let's move on to the next one, which is your ones to watch. We have Obafemi, Lash Legend, Roxanne Perez, who you just mentioned in our previous segment, Carmelo Hayes, and what's his name? So many
Bronson Reed.
Bronson Reed. I wanted to say that, but then I was thinking of the other Bronson who just left, and I was like, wait a minute, what's his last name? Is this the same one? Too many Brons. But anyway, yes, Bronson Reed. Tell us why these are your next up people.
So, as someone who has watched WWE for years, I've also interned there previously during my college years. I love the WWE product. The one thing that I wish the WWE would continue to do is build up their stars of tomorrow, because as we're seeing from John Cena's retirement, Roman Reigns doing movies, now Cody Rhodes is doing movies, and they're all getting up there. Your champions are in their 40s. It's time to present us with new stars. And these are the top 5 stars that I think are going to carry us and probably main event many WrestleManias. So I'm going to go ahead and start with Big Obafemi. You look at Obafemi, he's literally the final boss of NXT. He got that you don't beat him, you survive him type of energy. Some of his accolades: he's the current NXT champion. He's the longest reigning NXT North American champion, the winner of the 2023 NXT Breakout Tournament and the 24 Iron Survivor Challenge. Now, he's got the look, he's got the power, he's got the aura. He's an NIL product turned into a dominant champion, which is literally WWE's blueprint for the future. Now, the thing about Obafemi is, this is someone that you bring on and you have him go undefeated for almost 2 years. I would love to see him in the ring with the likes of Gunther, a Roman Reigns, any of the larger than life individuals. Put him in the ring with Bronson Reed, who's another person on this list. Up next, you got Roxanne Perez. We talked a little about Roxanne Perez. If you're not familiar with her, this is the Prodigy, but she's the Prodigy with bite. Now, if you're familiar with Roxanne Perez, she's been big on the indies also, but she's a 2-time NXT Women's Champion, a NXT Women's Tag Champion, a WWE Tag Champion, and she's got the chops to do it. From the technical aspect to the charisma, she's already mixing it up with the main roster, and she's the youngest female champion in WWE history, if I believe so. There's a lot that you can watch as far as her. She's a student of the game, and a great match of hers that you might want to catch is her versus Mikos Satomura at NXT Roadblock. Roxanne showed out. Up next, one of my favorites, Carmelo Hayes. This is him. Melo Don't Miss, a former #1 draft pick. I don't know what WWE is doing here, but Shawn Michaels built up Carmelo Hayes to be the next star in the same manner as Shawn Michaels was when he came up. A 2-time NXT champion, a 2-time North American champion, NXT Cruiserweight champion, Breakout Tournament champion. He has Shawn Michaels' mentorship. He has his charisma. He also has his showmanship when you get a chance to see him in the ring. Check out his match with Ilya Dragunov at No Mercy 2023. It was NXT Match of the Year. Running out number 4, Lash Legend, a Bully Bulldozer, a former WNBA player who became a WWE powerhouse. She's got the size, charisma, and the unique look. You can take a look at any match from Lash Legend, including her most recent matches with Nia Jax that had a standing ovation from the NXT crowd. Now, Lash Legend is up, and seeing her in the ring with the likes of someone like Jade Cargill, which we saw previously, would be amazing. Last up, Big Bronson Reed, who voice ain't high on Bronson Reed, but let me tell you why. Bronson Reed, if you're an old WWE or WWF fan, Bronson Reed is Bam Bam Bigelow with even more speed and power, if you can believe that. He's a former NXT American champion, Andre the Giant Battle Royal winner. He's standout. He's pinned Seth Rollins and put him on a shelf cleanly, which is something rare. And it's literally Vader meets Bam Bam Bigelow, modern brute. He's amazing. If you get a chance, watch his matches with Seth Rollins on Raw. That was a great feud that you probably didn't get a chance to see. And I know we did 5, but I gotta give y'all 6. The last one, my man Trick Willie, the People's Champ. Whoop that Trick ain't just a chant, it's a movement. 2-time NXT champ, NXT North American champ, Iron Survivor challenger, the current TNA champ. Trick has everything you want in a WWE superstar with charisma times infinity. A great match of his to watch. Trick versus Obafemi versus Javon Evans at Stand and Deliver 2025. Javon Evans did not make this list. He was right there on the outside, but y'all know what Javon does. That's my next 5 up plus 1. Make sure y'all tap into all those young young greatness.
Okay. Really briefly, we will address the elephant in the room, which I shared off air. I understand these are your next up, but historically, people of color may or may not get those really top spots. Now, you do have one in Roman Reigns currently, who's living off of the legacy of his cousin, The Rock, because regardless of the lineage that The Rock came from, none of them Samoans or his father had the kind of career that he had. You know, we just got to keep it a buck.
That's not true. Yokozuna?
Okay.
Jay Uso?
No, well, you know what? I say he's living off the legend of The Rock. Yokozuna was big. Yes, he was. Was he Rock big? No.
Yokozuna was the biggest heel, probably the biggest heel of the early 90s. And I don't think it's really fair to say Roman is living off of The Rock's lineage, because a lot of people didn't even acknowledge that Roman and The Rock were related until the Tribal Chief era came up.
Okay. I'll say this. Yokozuna was big, but he wasn't the face of the company. Not the way that The Rock was. You had
as the world champion.
He wasn't the face of the company. He wasn't who you think of when you think of wrestling. The way that you think of The Rock. The way you think of hold on, the way you think of The Rock, the way you think of Hogan, the way you think of Flair, the way you think of Cena, the way you think of Stone Cold, even The Undertaker. Yokozuna wasn't on that level.
But the names that you named are literally generational talents that extended that time. If you look at Yokozuna's career, he had a great career. It didn't last as long, of course, because of his issues with his weight. But if Yokozuna would have controlled his weight, they say that Yokozuna was probably going to last at least another 7-8 years at the top of the card. But you make a great point. But every person that you named are like stars in the sky. Like they're shooting stars. Those are limited.
Mm-hmm.
I get what you're saying, but yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. With the ones that you're listing are up next, with the names that you listed that are the stars that are dimming. That's why I'm like, the way that WWE works, I don't know that.
Yeah.
I don't know how or if any of these people will really get to this level. Now, really, really quickly, really briefly, you mentioned something off air about how you feel that Shawn Michaels has the best wrestling show that's on the air now, which I'm not saying that he doesn't. But my question is this: ratings wise, what's getting the eyes?
I mean, you can look at the popularity of NXT. There have been shows where NXT has beaten AEW when NXT is considered to be a developmental program, which is a big deal. And it's no, Ring of Honor is on AEW. It doesn't. AEW is an amazing product, and they're getting better. Definitely tune into them. People are asking me to cover them. I'm going to start covering them. NXT is a special place because Shawn Michaels made it his own. It's not the same thing as Triple H in the WWE. My big thing is Shawn Michaels runs the best ran show out of all three, from the storylines to the development of characters to the excitement of the matches. Shawn Michaels can have a champion face someone that you would think was a journey person on NXT, and it could be a match of the year candidate. With WWE and people of color, yes, it's an issue. If you've seen my TikToks, if you've seen my comments on some of your favorite influencers' TikToks, that's always been my issue. Because if not, Montez Ford would be a world champion right now. Angelo Dawkins and Montez as the Street Profits would still be champions to have more time. That is the issue. However, what NXT has done is made people of color almost to the point where you can't ignore it. So when they come up to the roster, which is what's frustrating about Carmelo Hayes, and then you're wondering if it's a booking issue with Triple H not knowing what to do with new stars. That's what it seems to be. The big issue, as much as people love AJ Lee coming back, and you seeing Brock Lesnar coming back, the big knock has been everything's about nostalgia, and they have to build up new stars as your old stars transition out. The 5 stars I named are people who can easily slide in, and they can win a world title tomorrow. You wouldn't bat an eye. You wouldn't think, oh, this is far-fetched. You wouldn't think, oh, they can't carry the company. These, especially Lash Legend, who hasn't even had a title yet, people have been clamoring for her to have one. She's tall, she's beautiful, she's very athletic, and she's very, very charismatic, which is everything you want in a superstar, and someone you want in someone facing a Bianca Belair, a Jade Cargill, a Nia Jax, a Tiffany Stratton, a Charlotte Flair. She's been heralded. So these are all people who, when I look at them and I see their pedigree, I'm like, they're the next up. These are the people who should be pushed. And as much as I know everyone loves Bron Breakker, to me, Bronson Reed has been the star. Bronson Reed is the one that's putting people out who looks like a monster, even in his match with Roman Reigns. Bronson Reed is that guy. So, people gonna argue with it. I know we're gonna see it in the comments, but listen, it's my next top 5 plus 1.
Okay, I'll say this in closing. This feels like, or I should say, NXT to me feels like ECW at the turn of the century. It is the product that hardcore fans love, but doesn't have the mass appeal. This is just my take, my statement. Just like those are your 5. This is my point. It's not necessarily out there for debate or whatever.
I'll let the people comment. I'll let the people comment what they feel about what you said.
Yeah. All right, we will continue on with the main card after this break from our sponsor, Ozell Brand. When we come back, we talk about what's being billed as the fight of the year, as well as the fight that many people may be talking about most after the weekend is over. It's the main card. Keep it locked.
It's not just about the love of the game. It's about dedication and commitment through the process and the patience to endure. There's joy in reaching your goals and peace in knowing you've done all you're supposed to do. Ozell Brand. It's not just a brand, it's a lifestyle.
All right, and welcome back. It's time, boys. We've been anticipating this for weeks. We brought this up on main card for a couple of weeks now. Now it's time to get into it. This Saturday night, under the bright lights of Allegiant Stadium, boxing's version of a Marvel crossover event is about to go down. 2 pound-for-pound kings, 2 men we've never seen back down from a challenge, although some people might argue about one, are literally stepping into the ring to make
about both
history.
of them, honestly, but go ahead.
Listen, I've only heard about one. One of the faces of Mexican boxing, the other is the soul of Omaha. Now, one is the undisputed super middleweight champion, the other's an undefeated welterweight wizard who decided 168 pounds wasn't too high of a mountain to climb. And now they're meeting at the top of the summit, boys. Canelo's the favorite at 160. He's younger, bigger, stronger, fighting in his house, in his weight class, in his city. He said it himself. It's big. I'm not wrong. It's the biggest fight in boxing right now because of everything. It's Netflix. It's Mexico versus America, and he's not wrong. This ain't a celebrity showcase. It ain't a celebrity fight. It's a real fight, and it's 2 of the best fighters in this era fighting each other. But for Bud, Crawford is built different, man. He's not just fighting Canelo. He said he's fighting the narrative. He's fighting the doubters, the whispers about shoulders into reach, the ones who said he was too small, too slow, too out of place, and he hears it all. He said some people just don't want to see you rise and pray for your downfall, and that's what fuels me. And he's not just coming for Canelo's belts. He said he's coming for legacy. He said Canelo fans are going to be crying on Sunday morning when I take his belts. And the way that Bud talks, that's not a prediction. It's a spoiler. Now, when Canelo says Crawford hasn't faced an elite fighter, Bud responded and said, with ice in his veins, Canelo's lost before, so he understands how to lose. I don't. Now, this fight is more than just titles. It's more than odds. It's more than Netflix. It's more than pride. It's really about proving who really runs the pound-for-pound conversation and answering the one question that's been echoing through boxing gyms and barbershops over the last year and a half. So, Voice, with all that being said, we've seen Bud and Canelo stand next to each other. Bud looks a lot bigger than everybody say he is, but we talked about that. They talked about Bud's shoulder injury possibly and how many people expect Canelo to dominate. What are your thoughts on this bout?
I have so many thoughts. One of the thoughts being people keep mentioning the size differential, which I get it. Canelo has been fighting at 168 and even as high as 175 for the past 6-7 years. I get that. Not Floyd. Crawford has been campaigning primarily at 147. He did come up to 154 in his last bout, but that also was not the most Bud-like fight that we've seen. And many people, myself included, kind of feel like, okay, the weight difference is doing some things here. If everything works the way that it should historically, Canelo should win the fight because of, again, the one who has been at that higher weight class longer. A number of people brought up people coming up 2 weight classes. They keep saying 2 weight classes, even though it's not quite 2 weight classes, really 1, because he did compete and win a title at 154. Whether it looked good or not, that's the facts. He competed, he pushed through adversity with a very tricky fighter. What doesn't help is that the next time that fighter was in the ring with someone who was a real 154 pounder, he got demolished, and Bud couldn't do that. So again, it doesn't cause the victory to age well. Nonetheless, he beat a champion, an undefeated champion. He got the belt, so it's really 1 weight class. People speak about Sugar Ray Robinson coming up 2 weight classes and not being able to do it. They speak about how Roy Jones did it, but then they also point to Charlo, which they really should not, because that fight never should have happened. And it was strictly a money grab, and you knew that after him getting caught the first time. It's like, okay, nope, now I'm just going to survive the fight, and that is going to be my victory. There are a couple narratives that are really going to color this fight. One being age. Canelo has been fighting championship fights for the last 10 years. That's a long time to be fighting at a championship level. Every single fight, no 10 rounders, no warm up 12 round fights like De La Hoya had with one of his Contender Series stars. Nothing like that. Just championship fights over and over and over again, and that wears on a person. We've seen the slippages in fights like Ryder and like Munguia and like Berlanga, where yes, he did hurt them, but he wasn't able to take them out. He didn't have that extra gear in the second half of the fight. That's one narrative. But then you also know that he, being Canelo, has taken this fight extremely seriously. And we know that by bringing in Boots. That shows his dedication to performing at the highest level possible. So he has the motivation going into this fight that he may not have had for some of the others. You have the weight thing. Can Canelo, or I should say, can Crawford, though he's probably going to be the bigger man in there, how does that impact him, though? We've not seen him fight at this weight before. Can he withstand punches of a man who's knocked out the likes of Sergey Kovalev at 175 pounds, a fight that he was losing until he knocked him out, which is why when he fought Bivol, things went the way that they went. Will Crawford get to his jab? Because that's really what led to Bivol's victory. He kept jabbing the death out of Canelo, keeping him off rhythm. Can Crawford withstand things? I think of the Callum Smith fight, where it wasn't the punches to the areas that score that led to his demise fighting Canelo. It was that Canelo kept punching him in the shoulder and tore a muscle off the bone. So there's so many different things that are going on in this fight, but really the if Crawford is to win, it's going to be the intangibles that do it. And when I think of someone who came up in weight recently and won a championship, it was that same indomitable spirit that got it done in what was truly the biggest fight this year, which is Usyk and Fury. He came, he dominated, he pushed through in both fights, 1 and 2. He found that other gear to push past and to get the victory. That's what's on Bud's side, is the fact that it doesn't matter if you're playing dominoes, lawn darts, undisputed, whatever you're playing, he is hyper competitive and does all that he can to win. Again, if that can overcome the legacy and the history, then we've got a lot to talk about Sunday morning.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because unlike a lot of fighters, Bud seems to be super confident, even though like he's an underdog here. Like it's almost to a point where you're just like, Bud could probably do it. And the last time we've seen him this confident, we saw what happened. So I think it's going to be a great fight. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to play out, but I can't say everybody's saying Canelo's going to win. I would not be surprised if Bud pulls this out and it's not the fight that people thinks it ends up being. I don't know. Yeah, Bud walking around wearing black Air Forces, so.
But that says it all.
But definitely make sure you all tune in to Netflix, and also make sure you're following The Voice. I'm sure The Voice is going to be scoring that one, have some excitement for y'all. That's going to be an amazing fight, but it's not the only bout to look forward to. This next one, Voice has got that slow burn energy, like the song you just played, the kind that just kind of creeps up on you till you realize, and you're like, yo, this might be the one. Monster faces MJ Akhmadaliev. Japan versus the Monster versus MJ, 2 champions, 1 ring, and a whole lot of smoke. Now, Inoue's been the boogeyman at 122, Voice. Precision, power, the relentless pace. But MJ, he's not really buying the hype, and his camp has been loud, confident, and calculated about it. They said, we believe in our abilities, said his trainer, Joel Diaz. MJ has a lot of experience. He's seen every style. And that's the thing. MJ's not just showing up. He said he's showing out. They saw what Cardenas did. They saw what Neri did. And both caught Inoue clean with that counter left. And Diaz is betting that MJ has got that same shot. But only difference is that it's going to be heavier, sharper, and with bad intentions. He said MJ's not an executioner. And he said MJ is an executioner, and he won't let you recover. But Monster, he's not rattled. He's not running. He's not even flinching. He said to Diaz's comment, I saw that comment, but I think he missed the target a little there. I definitely don't think I'm inferior in terms of overall strength. And that's the thing about Inoue. He doesn't need to talk. He just needs to win. He said, I'm not insisting that I win by KO. My only goal is to win. But when you talk back to MJ, he said he's coming to finish. He said, I can hurt anyone with my punches. And he's not an exception. And when he says that, he says it convincingly and you believe him. So this ain't just a fight, Voice. It's a statement. And MJ has been asking for the smoke consistently. Manifesting it, now he's got it. So, Voice, the question is, can MJ beat the monster? Or does the monster fleece MJ and he just ends up being another notch on the belt?
I think both, with the exception of the fleecing, can in a way defeat Akhmadaliev. Yes, he can. And a lot of the reasons behind that ability goes back to the conversation that we just had about Bud. It is the heart that Inoue has that allows him to be able to do these things. And you know what? We don't have a marquee matchup this week, but we're going to give this some marquee matchup music.
Let's go.
So let's do this because it's a little bit bigger than the music that was playing. Last time Inoue fought was on Cinco de Mayo weekend, same as Canelo. But Inoue is the one who saved the weekend for boxing because that weekend was horrible. That's also when Devin Haney was doing his thing. That's also, the track meet, Tom and Jerry, Canelo Skull. You had Ryan Garcia looking horrible, against Rolly. That was a horrible weekend until Inoue stepped in there with Cardenas and they gave us a phenomenal fight on a Sunday night on ESPN. So it's highly probable that Inoue saves the weekend again with his performance. What makes this fight so interesting is that Akhmadaliev, based on Inoue's most recent performances, has his kryptonite. How has Inoue been hurt versus Neary and hurt versus Cardenas? It's been with the left hook. What does Akhmadaliev have? A phenomenal left hook. When did Inoue get caught? When he was pushing in. Where does Akhmadaliev fight extremely well? On the back foot. Something else that is not really being talked about, that's very, very important in this fight, is that this is the second fight in a row that Joel Diaz will be facing Inoue. And the things that he's saying about Akhmadaliev, he can say that with a clear mind and with authority, because he knows what Cardenas can do because he trains. He knows what MJ can do because he trains them. So for him to say, yes, there are things that he'll be able to do better than Cardenas, he knows that with intimate knowledge because of the time spent preparing both of these fighters. What adjustments does he make with this different fighter with a somewhat different skill set against the same fighter in Inoue? What adjustments can Inoue make with this fighter who supposedly he has been ducking? How does that fuel his fire? I'm getting so pumped up just talking about all of this. The fact that MJ has never been knocked down means that this could be a war a la the first Inoue and Donaire fight was fight of the year.
Yeah, definitely.
So there are so many different things. Now boxing, and I should say fight math, don't add up. And that's the one blemish, or I should say the one thing to watch in this is how does MJ fare in the fight when against common opponents, being Marlon Tapales. MJ suffered his first loss where it was another day at the office for Inoue, just destroyed him. Again, styles make fights, so and fight math does not add up. Just because fighter A beat fighter B does not mean that they'll beat fighter C. You have to get in the ring and let the fist fly and let the story land where it may. But again, the fact that MJ's never been knocked down and that he has what has been hurting Inoue recently, it's really makes this a phenomenal fight. A fight that I'm so glad that we in the US and in the UK now have a way to watch it. Where we're watching it, though, says a lot about the future, the possible future of Top Rank. It's going to be on Facebook. Wow. I haven't watched a fight on Facebook since the UFC used to have their the very first shows on Facebook. That was a long time ago. So when they got Fight Pass, that's where those fights went. And Fight Pass has been around for a long time now. But yeah, this is going to be on Facebook. I hope Facebook paid them, and this is the reason why it's on there, because a lot of people are saying, well, why not YouTube? Why not YouTube? Probably because if it was on YouTube, it's just their own doing, where by doing it on their Facebook page, Facebook may be paying them. Will it make it as easy to watch as if it was on YouTube? No, because Roku doesn't have a Facebook app. And I know that they were trying to get into live sports before, during the pandemic, with the Big Baller Brand basketball league. But that's the one thing. It's like, okay, I wish you all would work out a better way of showing those things on TVs, because even though everything is online now, you're still watching it on the big screens.
I mean, it's definitely going to be an amazing fight. Probably, you can almost argue just as good as Canelo and Bud. I think the interesting thing is, Inoue's comments about him saying, "I don't have to have a knockout, I just have to win." When you consider 27 of his wins have come by KO. That's 27 of 30 wins have come by KO. MJ has 3 losses on his young career. Never touched the mat. So it's going to be great to see. Make sure y'all tune in. I know Voice is going to be covering that one. That was probably going to be exciting. He's a big Monster fan, especially how you tried to play me when my man Cool Boy took that loss too. But I don't want to revisit.
I didn't play. I
you played me. You played me.
Sister Soldier said, "If the truth hurts, then you'll be in pain."
That's crazy that you disrespect me with a Sister Soldier line. Wow, what a way to end it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for tuning in. We give you the main bouts. This is what we do. But we like to do something towards the end that we call final fights. While the main bouts are the meat and the protein of it all, this is your yams, your macaroni and cheese. These are the sides that you can't go without. Voice, tell us what final fights we should be looking forward to this weekend.
There's a whole fight card that's going on this weekend that has become a staple of the UFC, but honestly, because Dana White is promoting the Canelo and Crawford fight, it's not getting the attention or the shine that it normally would. Noche UFC, the 3rd installment, goes down in San Antonio this weekend. You got Diego Lopez, the Brazilian Mexican, taking on fellow Brazilian and fight nerds representative Jean Silva. Can Jean turn things around for the fight nerds who had a horrible weekend last week in Paris? Can he put them back on the winning track? The vast majority of the fights on this card, if it doesn't have a Mexican, it has someone of Mexican descent, or at least someone of Latin descent on one side of the octagon. You got Rob Font taking on David Martinez. You have Kelvin Gastelum, who missed weight horribly, taking on Dustin Stolfitz. You have Alexander the Great Hernandez fighting. You have a phenomenal, sneaky, important fight between Tatiana Suarez and Amanda Lemos on this card. Just a number of really good fights there. On the boxing end, we talked about the headliner of Canelo and Crawford. We didn't talk about the fact that Dana White's golden boy, Callum Walsh, will be fighting in the co-main event with a nominal title on the line against Fernando Vargas Jr. Again, another great Mexican for Mexican Independence Day weekend. Christian Billy and Lester Martinez, the man from Guatemala who fights out of B&B there in Omaha, Nebraska, being Bud and Bo Mac's gym. That's a sneaky good fight and has a lot of implications as to who may face Canelo next if he's able to get past Bud in a dominant fashion. If he doesn't, then they're going to run that one back. Sergey Boychuk taking on Brandon Adams on that card. Ivan Divchenko and Jermaine Franklin. You got a lot of really, really good fights going on this weekend, and it is fitting that if there's any weekend where you have fights upon fights upon fights, it is the one commemorating the fighting spirit of La Raza as Mexico celebrates its independence.
Sounds amazing. Got an amazing weekend of combat sports coming up. Thank you all for following us. It's MV Sports. Some of those amazing things that you can get from us, man. Every sport that you can think of. Shout out to all the great shows, man. And I'm not gonna miss them this time. All right. You got the full 94, which we're a part of. Shout out to my producer here. Also part of the gang. You got Sports Talk with C. You got Not the Same Podcast. Yes. Shout out to the fellas, man. They have an amazing show there. If you're not watching them, you are missing out. You have the Red and Bold. It's football season. Shout out to Will Smith. If you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan, you also, of course, you got the main card. The best show. We're a little, this is what we do. And of course, you have the V Report and Time Out with my man, The Voice, man. Make sure that y'all like, share, and subscribe. Make sure also, if you get a chance, that you share this with a friend. If you know somebody who's into combat sports, make sure you share this with them, man. Every week, we give you the best of combat sports. That's professional wrestling, boxing, MMA,
yeah.
Street fighting. If they got on black Air Force Ones, let us know. We're going to cover that fight too. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure that you follow us, like, share, and subscribe all podcasts that you may have. Voice, take us out.
Until next time, fight the good fight.
What's going on, family? It's your man, Wildress.
And it's your man, the myth, the legend, the voice.
And you just finished watching the main card on the MTMV network.
Yeah, for more great shows just like this, smash the subscribe button and keep fighting the good fight.